Welcome to Monk's Temple. Settle in, and let the noise of the world fade to a gentle hum. Tonight, we embark on a quiet journey through the landscape of time itself. We will not fight this terrain, but learn to walk it with open eyes and a soft heart. This is the essence of the Buddha's guidance on aging, not a battle to be won, but a reality to be met with profound grace and understanding. Let me share a story from my own life. There is a wooden bench in my garden, placed under an old pear tree. I first built it with my father decades ago, the wood fresh and pale. Over the years, that bench has changed. The wood has silvered, its surface polished smooth by rain, sun, and the simple act of sitting. A fine crack runs along one seat, and moss now softens its feet. I used to see these changes as decay, a slow falling apart. But one morning, as I sat with my tea, I saw it differently. The bench wasn't decaying. It was integrating. It was becoming part of the garden in a way a new bench never could. Its silver wood echoed the bark of the pear tree. Its crack housed tiny, sleeping insects. It belonged. This, I realized, is a silent teaching from the heart of Buddhism. Aging is not a departure from life, but a deeper merging with it. The Buddha called this process Anicca, impermanence. It is not a flaw in the design, it is the very nature of the design. That bench, in its beautiful, weathered state, was in perfect harmony with the truth of change. This principle of Anicca is our starting point. The Buddha established his teaching on the unshakable ground of reality. He did not pretend aging was graceful to make us feel better. He named it jara, old age, decay, and placed it before us as a fundamental truth of existence. By looking directly at it, we disarm its terror. Imagine watching a storm approach across a vast plain. If you see it coming, you can find shelter, you can appreciate its power without being consumed by fear. But if you deny the storm exists until it is upon you, you are left in panic. The Buddha's honesty is our shelter. He points to the storm clouds of jara on the horizon and says, "Yes, it is coming. Now, let me show you how to build a roof of understanding for your heart." If this perspective feels like a moment of shelter, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. Your subscription is like a bookmark in a book of peace, allowing you to easily return to this calm space whenever you need it. This understanding naturally leads us to a transformative concept, Anatta, or non-self. We spend our early years in a project of building a solid I. We gather achievements, relationships, and identities, stacking them like stones to create a fortress of self. Aging can feel like that fortress being slowly weathered, its stones loosening. We fear we are becoming less. Anatta offers a revolutionary comfort: you were never the fortress to begin with. You are the open sky that surrounds it. The roles, the capabilities, the strength, these are the temporary stones. Your aware, witnessing presence is the sky, constant, spacious, and untouched by what happens within it. As the outer structures naturally soften, you are not being diminished. You are being invited to remember your true, vast nature. The clutter is clearing, and in that space, you can finally breathe. I saw this in a retired sea captain I once met. For 40 years, his identity was the ship, the crew, the vast map of the ocean. On land, retired, he felt like a ghost. The fortress of his command was gone. For years, he was adrift. Then, he began to sit by the harbor not as a captain, but simply as a man. He watched the water, the light on the waves, the gulls. He started to notice the young sailors, their anxiety and bravado. Without a word, his mere calm presence became a beacon. They would come to him, not for orders, but for his quiet ear. He told me, "I thought I lost my ship. But I found I wasn't the ship at all. I was the calm water it floated on. Now, I can hold others afloat." He had moved from being the commander of the vessel to becoming the harbor itself, a place of stillness and safe return. This is the profound shift Anatta makes possible. The wisdom of Buddhism does not leave us with philosophy alone. It gives us a practical tool for every moment, mindfulness. This is the gentle art of presence. It is meeting the sensations of aging, the stiffness, the forgetfulness, the quiet, not with a story of decline, but with simple, kind attention. When a joint aches, instead of a mental storm, this is terrible, it's only getting worse. Mindfulness invites us to feel the raw sensation itself. The heat, the pressure. To breathe into it, not to banish it, but to acknowledge its presence. This changes everything. It separates the pure experience from the suffering we add with our thoughts. We learn to sit with life as it is, not as we demand it to be. This path of clear seeing and gentle acceptance is what leads us to grow old not just with dignity, but with a grace that illuminates from within. It is a journey from resistance to peace, from fear to a deep, abiding compassion for ourselves and this ever-changing world. Let us continue our walk. We've acknowledged the changing landscape, the weathering of the bench, the calming of the sea captain. Now, we turn inward, to the very engine of our distress. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is not the ache in the knee, but our clinging to the way the knee once was. This clinging, this desperate grasp, is called tanha. Thirst, craving. In aging, it manifests as a silent, persistent war against reality. We crave our former energy, our sharp memory, our unlined face. We thirst for a past version of our life. And this thirst, this constant reaching backward, is what leaves us parched in the present. Imagine you are holding a beautiful, fragile leaf in the palm of your hand, its autumn colors brilliant. You love it, and you fear the moment it will crumble. So you clench your fist tight to protect it. What happens? In your clenched grasp, the leaf is crushed. Your very effort to preserve it destroys it. Now, imagine instead you open your palm. You let the leaf rest there, freely. You admire its color, its delicate veins. You feel the light breeze. You know the wind may take it, and that is its nature. But in that open palm, for as long as it stays, the leaf is seen, appreciated, and unharmed. Your open hand allows the beauty to be. This is the choice before us. We can spend our energy clenching our fist around the past, crushing the present moment in the process. Or we can learn the courageous art of the open palm. This is the heart of letting go in Buddhism. It is not a cold dismissal of what we love. It is a transition from clinging to appreciation. From possession to grateful witness. This brings us to a powerful and personal practice, working with memory. As we age, memory can feel like a traitor. Names slip away. Details blur. The story we've told ourselves of our own life can develop gaps. We often meet this with fear, seeing it as a terrifying prelude to loss. But what if we saw it through the lens of the Buddha's wisdom? What if forgetting was not merely loss, but a gentle editing? Our minds, in their natural process, maybe letting go of the trivial to make space for the essential. The sharp details of an old argument may fade, leaving behind only the lesson in forgiveness. The catalogue of daily chores from 20 years ago vanishes, but the feeling of tucking your child into bed, the warmth of that quiet song, remains in the heart. The mind, in its own wise way, might be sanding the rough edges from the past, leaving a smoother, more resonant stone. I saw this in my Aunt Clara. She was a brilliant academic, a woman who could recall footnotes and dates with machine-like precision. In her later years, that filed cabinet of facts became jumbled. She couldn't always recall the title of a book she'd written. It frightened her. But something else emerged. When you spoke with her, she no longer gave you data. She gave you the essence. She would talk about the long, green feeling of peace from a childhood forest, or the sound of responsibility in her father's voice. She had forgotten the map but remembered the territory of feeling. Her conversations became poetry. She had moved from the head to the heart. Her forgetting was not a dimming of her light, but a change in its spectrum, from the bright white light of intellect to the warmer, golden light of wisdom. She was experiencing the truth of Anicca within her own mind, and instead of it being an end, it became a transformation. Now, let us weave this understanding into the fabric of daily life through the practice of compassion, karuna. Often, we think of compassion as something we direct outward. But the Buddha's path always begins within. The first and often most difficult person to offer compassion to is yourself. Every judgment about your aging body, I should be stronger, I look tired, is a stone thrown at your own heart. Self-compassion is the practice of laying down those stones. It is meeting your reflection, your fatigue, your limitations with the same kindness you would offer that dear friend who is struggling. You would not tell them, you are failing at being young. You would say, you have carried so much. It is okay to rest. This internal softening changes everything. When you stop the war within, you have a surplus of peace to offer the world. Your compassion becomes authentic, grounded in your own truths. You see the young person's frantic striving and feel not jealousy, but a tender recognition. You see a peer's vanity or fear and feel not criticism, but a shared understanding of this human vulnerability. Your presence itself becomes a healing space, because you are no longer emitting the silent buzz of self-judgment. You are emitting acceptance. And in a world starved for acceptance, that is a profound gift. Let me tell you about a man named Leo who ran a small repair shop. He could fix anything: clocks, radios, toasters. His value was in his fixing. After a stroke, his hands lost their fine coordination. He could no longer perform the delicate work that defined him. He fell into a deep shame, believing he was now broken and useless. One day, a boy came in with a shattered antique music box, a family heirloom. The boy was heartbroken. Leo, from his chair, looked at the pieces and said, "I can't put it together for you. But come here. I can show you how." For weeks, the boy would visit. Leo, with his slowed speech and steady gaze, would guide him. The spring needs to feel respected, not forced. Listen for the click, it's a whisper, not a shout. Leo wasn't fixing the box. He was fixing the boy's despair. He was transmitting a deeper skill: patience, reverence, listening. In letting go of his identity as the fixer, he became the guide. His worth was no longer in his own hands, but in the wisdom that flowed through his heart. His limitation became the very opening for a new, more profound form of service. This is compassion flowering from the cracked soil of personal loss. We have been exploring the inner landscape. Letting go, the transformation of memory, the flowering of compassion from self-acceptance. Now, let us bring our lantern to one of the most shadowed parts of the path, our relationship with the body. The body, in its youth, feels like a faithful servant, a transparent vehicle for our will. In aging, it can begin to feel like a stranger, or even an opponent. The Buddhist teachings offer us a way to reconcile with this changing companion, not through defiance, but through a radical and gentle friendship. The foundation of this friendship is mindfulness of the body. The Buddha called this kayanupassana. It is not about improving the body, or berating it, but about knowing it. It is a practice of listening. For a few moments, right now, just feel your body sitting or lying down. Feel the points of contact with the chair or the floor. Notice the weight of your arms, the rise and fall of your chest. There is no good or bad sensation here. There is simply sensation. Aches are not failures, they are messages. Tiredness is not a betrayal, it is a communication. When we meet these sensations with simple, non-judgmental attention, we change the relationship. We move from, I am my painful knee, to, there is a sensation of pain in the knee. This tiny shift in perspective creates a world of space. You are not the storm. You are the awareness that weathers the storm. I learned this from an unlikely teacher, a stray cat who adopted our porch. She was ancient, with a ragged ear and a slow, deliberate walk. One cold morning, I saw her ritual. She would find a patch of sunlight, often just a narrow stripe on the wooden planks. She would step into it, lower herself with a soft groan, and then become utterly still. She wasn't sleeping. She was basking. She was absorbing the warmth with every fiber of her being, her old bones drinking in the sun. She didn't curse the shade or wish for a bigger sunbeam. She simply and wholly inhabited the warmth she had. This is a masterclass in embodied mindfulness. She was in a direct, grateful relationship with the sensory pleasure available to her in that moment. Our aging bodies may offer fewer wide beaches of ease, but they can still offer us these stripes of sunlight. The warmth of a cup in our hands, the comfort of a soft blanket, the relief of a deep breath. Mindfulness teaches us to find those stripes and, like the old cat, to fully, completely inhabit them. This mindful friendship prepares us for the natural culmination of the body's journey, the contemplation of death. The Buddha was unequivocal. He included death, marana, as one of the essential contemplations. To ignore it, he taught, is to live in delusion. But to face it, to familiarize ourselves with its inevitability, is not to invite morbidity. It is to ignite a fierce and grateful love for life. Knowing the book will end makes you read every sentence with more attention. It makes you appreciate the poetry of the language, the development of the characters, the beauty of the themes. It makes you less likely to skim. This teaching is not about dying. It is about living fully with the end in sight. When you hold the reality that your time with a loved one is finite, you put down your phone. You listen more closely. You choose your words with more care. When you know your own time to experience this world is limited, a mundane walk becomes a symphony of sensory detail, the crunch of gravel, the pattern of clouds, the scent of damp earth. Mortality is the lens that brings life into sharp, vivid focus. It is the great clarifier, burning away the trivial and illuminating the essential. I have a friend, a gardener named Silas, who embodies this. He is in his 9th decade. When you walk with him in his garden, it is an experience of profound slowness. He will stop to watch a bee for 5 minutes. He will feel the soil between his fingers and tell you its story, its dryness, its life. He once said to me, when I was young, I gardened for the harvest, for the show of flowers. Now, I garden for the conversations. I listen to what the plants need. I watch the insects work. I'm not building a display anymore, I'm participating in a dialogue that will continue long after I'm gone. Silas is not denying death. He is so intimately aware of his place in the cycle that he has fallen in love with his particular moment in the turning. His awareness of the end has filled his present with an almost unbearable richness. He is practicing the ultimate Buddhist meditation, seeing the eternal in the temporary, the sacred in the passing moment. This honest relationship with our own finitude is what ultimately fuels a life of meaning. When we stop pretending we have unlimited time, our actions gain weight and clarity. We choose connection over being right. We choose experiences over possessions. We choose the soft word over the sharp retort. Our legacy ceases to be a monument we build for the future and becomes the quality of presence we offer in the now. It becomes the kindness woven into daily interactions, the patience we model, the peace we radiate simply by having made peace with our own story. This is how we grow old, not just gracefully, but meaningfully, by using the awareness of the end to live a truly alive beginning, every single day. In our journey thus far, we've befriended change, made peace with memory, and learned to see the body and mortality as teachers. Now, let's explore a sanctuary that becomes increasingly important. The sanctuary of solitude, and the subtle but vital distinction between loneliness and being blessedly alone. As social roles shift and the world's demands quiet, we often find ourselves with more time in our own company. Society often frames this as loneliness, a problem to be solved. But Buddhism invites us to see it as a potential for profound discovery. Loneliness is the pain of feeling disconnected. It is a heart calling out for an echo. Solitude, however, is the choice to be present with oneself. It is the rich, silent soil where the seeds of self-knowledge can finally sprout. The Buddha spent years in solitude before his enlightenment, not running from the world, but diving into the depths of his own being to find an unshakable truth. We are offered a gentler version of this same exploration. The key to transforming loneliness into nourishing solitude is the very practice we've been cultivating, mindfulness. When you are alone and a feeling of emptiness arises, instead of rushing to fill it with noise or distraction, you can sit with it. You can ask, what does this emptiness actually feel like in my body? You might find a hollow sensation in the chest, a tightness. Breathe into that space. Offer it kindness. Often, you'll discover that the emptiness is not empty at all. It is full of old stories, fears, or simply a raw, unmet life energy. By meeting it with compassion, you begin to keep yourself company in a new, deeper way. You become your own compassionate witness. And in doing so, you build an inner hearth that is always warm, regardless of who is or isn't in the room with you. I think of a retired schoolteacher, Eleanor. After a life surrounded by the vibrant chaos of children, her quiet apartment felt like a tomb. The loneliness was crushing. One day, instead of turning on the television, she sat at her window with a notebook. She decided to simply observe the maple tree across the street. She noted the first yellow leaf of September. She watched a squirrel's intricate journey branch to branch. She began to sketch its form. That single tree became a universe. Her lonely vigil became a study, a communion. She told me, I thought I was alone. But when I really started to pay attention, I found I was in a relationship with that tree, with the light, with the season. I'm not lonely anymore. I'm in a very quiet, very beautiful conversation. Eleanor discovered that solitude is the space where we can fall in love with the world all over again, in a more intimate, unhurried way. This inner sanctuary directly enriches our connections with others. When we come from a place of inner fullness, our relationships are no longer needy. We don't seek others to complete us or distract us from ourselves. We connect from wholeness to wholeness. Our presence becomes a gift because it is undemanding. We can truly listen, because we are not waiting for our turn to speak to prove we still matter. We can love more freely, because our happiness is not contingent on the other person's behavior. This is the fruit of having cultivated a true friendship with yourself. You become the calm, deep lake that clearly reflects those who come to your shore, without muddling them with your own turbulence. This brings us to another cornerstone of the path, right speech, or samavaka. As we age, our words gain weight. We have less time for chatter and more potential for impact. The Buddha taught that speech should be truthful, helpful, kind, and timely. In our later years, this becomes a powerful practice. The urge to give unsolicited advice, to control with criticism, or to dwell in complaints about our health can be strong. Right speech asks us to pause. Is what I am about to say necessary? Is it kind? Does it improve upon the silence? This practice turns our communication into an offering. A well-timed word of genuine encouragement can change a young person's trajectory. A sincere, I love you, or I forgive you, can heal decades-old wounds. Or, perhaps most powerfully, the choice to offer silent, supportive presence when words are not needed. Our words, when used with this mindful care, become our final, and perhaps most lasting, creative act. Consider the story of Mr. Higgins, who lived next door to me growing up. He was a man of few words, a retired printer. The neighborhood kids were initially intimidated by his silence. But we discovered that if you sat with him on his porch step, he would eventually speak. And when he did, it was worth the wait. He wouldn't tell you what to do. He'd tell a short story about a printing mistake that taught him patience, or he'd point out a bird's nest we'd missed. His speech was never wasteful. It was always a small, perfect gift. His aging had distilled his language to its essence. He understood that the most powerful words are often the ones spoken softly after a long, thoughtful silence. He was practicing right speech, and in doing so, he taught a group of rowdy children the value of quiet and the weight of a carefully chosen word. Let us journey deeper. We've built sanctuaries within, through solitude, mindful speech, and inner friendship. Now, we arrive at a wide, open plain in the landscape of aging, the plain of purpose. A common fear is that as we step back from careers, from active parenting, from being at the center of the hustle, our purpose evaporates. We ask, what is my role now? The wisdom of Buddhism reframes this question entirely. It invites us to shift from a purpose of doing to a purpose of being. Your primary contribution is no longer what you produce, but the quality of consciousness you bring to each moment. Your purpose becomes the cultivation and radiation of peace, wisdom, and compassion. This is not a smaller task. It is the ultimate task. Think of a mountain. In its youth, it is jagged, dramatic, thrusting upwards, actively shaping the weather around it. This is the purpose of doing. In great age, the mountain is worn smooth, rounded, stable. It no longer thrusts, it holds. It provides a foundation for forests, a catchment for rain, a permanent silhouette against the sky that offers orientation to travelers from miles away. Its purpose is its unwavering, peaceful presence. Our later years are an invitation to become that mountain. To stop striving to shape the world and instead become a stable, peaceful foundation for those around us. Your calm in a crisis, your wise perspective in confusion, your compassionate listening in distress. These are the forests and streams your mountainess supports. This is a purpose that cannot be retired. This is embodied in the concept of dana, or generosity, which the Buddha placed at the very foundation of the path. In youth, dana might be writing a check, volunteering physical labor. In later years, dana matures into the generosity of spirit. It is the gift of your full attention. It is the sharing of your hard-earned wisdom without ego. It is the generosity of forgiveness. For yourself and others. It is the offering of a peaceful atmosphere wherever you go. This form of giving is inexhaustible. It grows the more you give it away. I saw this in a woman named Flora at the local library. She wasn't a librarian. She was just a patron, an elder with a gentle smile. She had a particular habit. She would always sit in the same armchair in the children's section. She never interfered, never gave unsolicited advice to flustered parents. She simply read her book, radiating a palpable calm. Over time, toddlers would wander over to show her a picture. Anxious parents would catch her eye and receive a quiet, reassuring nod. Teenagers doing homework would sometimes sit near her, as if her silence helped them think. She gave nothing material. She gave the intangible, essential gift of a peaceful, non-judgmental presence. Her very being in that chair was an act of dana. She had become the mountain in the library, a stabilizing landmark of calm. Her purpose was her presence. This shift in purpose is supported by one of the most beautiful practices in Buddhism, gratitude, or catanutta. When the drive for future achievement relaxes, we can fully inhabit the present gift. Gratitude is the conscious savoring of what is here, right now. It is the direct antidote to the sense of impoverishment that aging can sometimes whisper. You are not losing everything. You are being given the opportunity to see the incredible wealth you've overlooked. Make this a practice. Not just for the big things, but for the small, weathered beauties specific to this time of life. The deep familiarity of a longtime partner's hand. The luxury of time to watch a full sunrise. The relief of no longer needing to prove yourself. The clarity that comes from knowing what truly matters. The simple pleasure of a task done slowly and well. Gratitude turns what you have into enough, and more than enough. It turns an aging body into a testament of survival and experience. Each line becomes a record of laughter and concern, each ache a reminder of a life fully lived. A dear friend of mine, a veteran, began a ritual after his retirement. Every night before bed, he would write one sentence in a notebook. Not about what he did, but about what he noticed. Today I noticed the way the light hit the dusty path and made it look like a river of gold. Or, today I noticed the sound of my granddaughter's trust when she reached for my hand without looking. He called it his ledger of wonders. Over years, this practice transformed him from a man haunted by the past into a man entranced by the present. His gratitude had honed his attention into a tool for joy. He was practicing a form of mindfulness that specifically gathered the jewels of the everyday. This is not naive positivity, it is a disciplined and joyful attention to the texture of life itself, a texture that becomes richer, not poorer, to a perceptive heart. This cultivated gratitude and peaceful presence is how we begin to leave a legacy that truly matters. You stop worrying about being remembered and start focusing on being useful in the most subtle ways. Your legacy becomes the peace you leave in the room after you've left it. It becomes the courage someone else found because you believed in them quietly. It becomes the forgiveness that healed a family rift. These things are like seeds carried on the wind. You will rarely see where they land and grow, but you can trust that the act of releasing them with a good heart changes the ecosystem of the world in imperceptible but real ways. This is a purpose aligned with the deepest streams of life. To contribute to the whole by becoming whole yourself. We have explored purpose, presence, and the profound generosity of being. Now, let's turn to a subtle but powerful current that runs through the river of aging, the current of forgiveness. As the years accumulate, so too can the residue of old wounds, words said or unsaid, betrayals large and small, regrets over paths not taken. These can become heavy stones in the heart's pocket, weighing us down with bitterness or sorrow. The Buddha's path offers a way to lay these stones down, not through force, but through the understanding of a principle called dependent origination. Nothing happens in isolation. Every hurt was caused by a complex web of conditions, the other person's pain, your own expectations, the circumstances of the time. Seeing this complexity doesn't excuse harm, but it can dissolve the hard, solid lump of personal resentment. It allows you to see the wound as part of a vast, interconnected tapestry, rather than a single, defining act against you. Forgiveness, in this light, is not saying what happened was okay. It is saying, I will no longer carry the poison of this event inside me. I release myself from the prison of holding on to it. It is an act of self-liberation. The person you forgive may never know, and that is not the point. The point is to free up the energy in your heart so it can be used for love, not for maintaining old walls. As we age, this practice becomes urgent, not for others, but for our own peace. We need that energy for living, not for lugging the past. I witnessed a profound act of this in my own family. My great-uncle and his brother had a falling out over a business deal gone wrong decades prior. They didn't speak for 30 years. In his final illness, my great-uncle was quiet and seemed burdened. One afternoon, he asked for a phone. He called his brother. He didn't rehash the deal. He didn't assign blame. He simply said, I was thinking about when we were boys, fishing at the old creek. I remember the sound of the water. I've missed you. There was a long silence on the other end. Then his brother said, I remember the color of the dragonflies. That was it. They spoke for 10 minutes about dragonflies and creek water, and then hung up. My great-uncle died 2 days later, but the look on his face after that call was one of immense, unburdened relief. He hadn't fixed the past. He had reached through the thicket of conditions to touch the one simple, true thing that existed before it all, brotherhood. That was forgiveness. It was an act of emotional archaeology, brushing away the dust of decades to find the treasured memory buried beneath. He died light. This work of forgiveness is intimately tied to another, the work of integrating our own regrets. We all have them, the "if only" and "I should have" that whisper in quiet moments. The Buddhist practice here is not to wallow, but to learn. To look at a regret with compassionate curiosity. What did that action or inaction teach me about myself? About life? How can that wisdom inform my actions now? A regret, once mined for its lesson, can be released. Its weight transforms into wisdom. It becomes part of the soil, not a stone blocking the path. Ultimately, this inner clearing, of resentments and regrets, creates space for the most important relationship of all, your relationship with life itself. When the heart is no longer cluttered with old grievances, it can meet each new moment with freshness. This is what the Zen masters call beginner's mind. It is the ability to see the sunset as if for the first time, even though you've seen thousands. It is to hear a piece of music with fresh ears. Aging, contrary to making us jaded, can offer us this supreme gift, the capacity for constant wonder, because we are no longer viewing the present through a dusty filter of the past. We are meeting it, cleanly, in its own right. There is a small pond I visit, hidden in a copse of trees. For years, I went to it with my thoughts, my problems, projecting my moods onto its surface. One autumn, after a period of intense inner work, I went and simply sat. For the first time, I didn't see my reflection in the pond. I saw the pond. I saw the perfect, still reflection of a yellow birch leaf on the water's dark surface. I saw the intricate, mirrored world of the upside-down trees. I wasn't looking at it, I was with it. I had, for a moment, forgiven myself for my self-absorption and joined the world. That is the freedom that awaits on the other side of forgiveness and release. It is the freedom to belong to the world again, fully, as a grateful and awake participant, unencumbered by the old stories. Our journey has taken us through inner clearings, forgiveness, the release of regret, the embrace of wonder. Now, let us gather these insights and weave them into the practical fabric of daily life. How do we live this wisdom when the body is stiff in the morning? When loneliness visits? When the news of the world feels heavy? This is where the Buddha's teachings become not just philosophy, but a practical toolkit for resilience and joy. The core tool is, and always will be, mindfulness, but let's give it some specific shapes for this season of life. First, the practice of routine as ritual. The days may have less external structure, so we imbue our simple routines with sacred attention. Making your morning tea or coffee is no longer a means to an end, caffeine, but a meditation. Feel the coolness of the cup. Watch the steam curl. Smell the aroma fully before you taste. By doing one thing at a time, with full attention, you elevate the mundane to the meaningful. Your day begins not with rushing, but with a ceremony of presence. Second, micro-savoring. Your world may physically shrink, but your capacity to appreciate it deepens. Spend 5 minutes truly looking at a single flower. Not just glancing, but seeing its color gradients, the texture of its petals, the architecture of its stem. Listen to a single piece of music with your eyes closed, following one instrument at a time. Eat one piece of fruit, savoring each bite as if it were the first and last you'll ever taste. This practice trains the mind to find universes in small things, defeating boredom and nurturing constant delight. Third, compassionate movement. Meet your body where it is. This isn't about exercise for fitness, but movement for communion. Gentle stretching where you breathe into the stretch, thanking that part of your body for its service. A slow walk where you feel each foot's connection to the earth, heel, ball, toe. It's a conversation with your physical being, not a demand. On days when movement is hard, practice mindful resting. Feel the support of the bed or chair, consciously releasing weight into it. This turns limitation into an opportunity for deep listening. I know a man named Ben, a former engineer, whose world was reduced by chronic pain. He took up the practice of watching the single bird feeder outside his window. He didn't just watch birds. He learned to identify individual sparrows by small markings. He named them. He observed their personalities, the bold one, the patient one, the nervous one. He charted their daily routines in a notebook. What seemed like a confinement became a deep dive into a vibrant, social world happening just outside his glass. He told me, I used to manage projects across the state. Now I manage my attention on a single square foot of the world, and I've found it contains more drama, more beauty, and more life than I ever could have imagined. Ben had mastered micro-savoring. His limitation had become the frame for a masterpiece of attention. Fourth, the practice of enough. Our consumer culture screams, more. Wisdom whispers, enough. At its core, Buddhism points to the suffering caused by craving. To consciously practice enough is a radical act of freedom. It's feeling the warmth of the sweater and thinking, this is enough. It's finishing a modest, nourishing meal and thinking, that was enough. It's looking at your small, comfortable home and thinking, this is enough. This practice starves the hunger that can make us feel poor, no matter our possessions. It reveals the abundance that is already here. Finally, the evening review. As the day ends, instead of scrolling through news or entertainment, spend a few moments in gentle review. Not to judge, but to acknowledge. Ask yourself, where was I present today? Where was I kind, to myself or others? What small beauty did I notice? Then, softly acknowledge, there were also moments of distraction, or impatience. That, too, is part of being human. End by setting an intention for sleep, may I rest. May I heal. May I meet tomorrow with an open heart. This practice weaves the threads of the day into a coherent tapestry, ending it with peace rather than clutter. These are not grand austerities. They are the small, daily stitches that sew a life of mindfulness together. They are how we build the roof of understanding the Buddha spoke of, so that when the storms of pain, loss, or irrelevance come, as they will, we are sheltered from within. We have built a home in the present moment, furnished with gratitude, lit by attention, and open with compassion. This is the practical art of growing old with grace. Let's deepen our practice. We've gathered tools for the day. Now, let's prepare for the night. Not just for sleep, but for the longer, more metaphorical nights of the spirit, times of loss, of letting go, of navigating profound change. Buddhism offers a profound map for these passages, centered not on resistance, but on a courageous and tender surrender to the natural order of things. This is the wisdom of upekkha, or equanimity. It is not cold detachment. It is a vast, calm, balanced heart. It is the deep ocean that remains still, not because there are no waves on the surface, but because its depth is immeasurable. In aging, we are invited to cultivate this oceanic heart. Equanimity is what allows us to hold joy and sorrow in the same open hands. To celebrate a grandchild's wedding with full, exuberant joy, while also feeling the poignant whisper that we may not see their own children grow. It allows us to feel the grief of losing a dear friend, while simultaneously feeling gratitude for the decades of friendship. It is the capacity to say yes to the entire, complex truth of an experience, without denying any part of it. This balanced heart is our greatest refuge. It means we are never completely overthrown by any single event, because our identity is rooted in the deep, still water beneath the waves, not in the waves themselves. This is intimately connected to the teaching of samsara, the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. While interpretations vary, a practical, non-dogmatic view is incredibly helpful here. See your own life as a microcosm of samsara. Within this one lifetime, you have experienced countless births and deaths. The birth and death of identities, the student, the professional, the parent of young children. The birth and death of relationships, hobbies, homes, and dreams. You are already an expert in cycles. Aging is simply the stage where the cycles become more apparent, more poignant, and ultimately, more sacred. You see the arc more clearly. This perspective helps you hold loss not as a final, cruel end, but as a necessary phase in a pattern you have navigated many times before. You have said goodbye before. And you have found new ways to love, new things to care for, new versions of yourself after each ending. Trust that capacity now. I want to tell you about a woman named Anya. She was a vibrant community theater director, a force of nature. A stroke took her ability to speak quickly and to move with her old precision. The director was gone, that cycle had ended. For a year, she was adrift in grief and anger. Then, a young, anxious director asked her to just sit in on rehearsals. Anya went. She couldn't direct, but she could listen. She began to write notes. Not criticisms, but simple, powerful observations on a pad of paper. Pause here. The silence is the line. When you turn, do it as if you're remembering something sad. She would hand the note to the director at the break. Her notes became legendary. They were like little keys that unlocked the heart of a scene. She had been reborn, not as the director, but as the essence of direction. The cycle of her creativity had not ended, it had transformed into a more distilled, potent form. She hadn't fought the death of her old role, she had allowed it, and in the fertile space that followed, a new and beautiful way to contribute was born. Her equanimity in the face of her loss, her eventual yes to the new reality, made this rebirth possible. This leads us to perhaps the most tender practice, preparing for our final letting go. The Buddha encouraged the contemplation of our own death, Maranasati. Done with the right heart, this is an act of love for life and for those we leave behind. It's about practical and emotional preparation. Practically, it's having our affairs in order, not as a morbid task, but as a final gift of clarity and care to our loved ones, so they are not burdened with confusion in their grief. Emotionally, it is the ongoing work we've been doing. Practicing non-attachment, expressing love now, healing relationships, and living so fully in the present that when the time comes, we have fewer regrets shouting for our attention. The goal is not to die without fear, that may be asking too much of our human heart. The goal is to die without unfinished business. To die having said the "I love yous," the "I forgive yous," and the "I am sorries." To die having, as much as possible, made our peace with this incredible, painful, beautiful human experience. This work gives us a profound dignity, and it gives those we leave behind a priceless solace. My own father, in his last year, took to sitting on the porch every evening. One night, I joined him. He was quiet for a long time, watching the stars emerge. Then he said, "You know, I've been thinking. I'm not afraid of being gone. I'm just going to miss this. The feeling of the air. The sound of your mother in the kitchen. The weight of this old dog's head on my foot." He wasn't expressing fear of death. He was expressing a deep, grateful love for life, a love so specific and sensory it broke my heart open. He was doing the ultimate practice, savoring the texture of existence, knowing his time to feel it was limited. His preparation was happening in that simple, nightly act of appreciation. He was saying a slow, gentle goodbye by paying exquisite attention. That is Maranasati at its most beautiful. It is the full embrace of life, which naturally softens the transition out of it. We have journeyed far together, through the changing landscapes of the body, the heart, and the spirit. We have gathered tools, cleared old wounds, and learned to sit in both the sunlit meadows and the long shadows of life. Now, we arrive at our destination, which is not an ending, but a gathering point. All these threads, mindfulness, compassion, impermanence, equanimity, are not separate. They weave together to form a single, resilient, and luminous tapestry, a life of grace. This grace is not a pose. It is an inner alignment with reality. It is the understanding, felt in your bones, that you are part of a vast, flowing process. You are not a solid thing being worn away. You are the process itself, aging, changing, learning, loving, releasing. When you feel this, a deep relaxation occurs. The struggle falls away. You stop comparing your chapter to someone else's. You stop lamenting that you are not in the prologue anymore. You become fascinated by the chapter you are in, because you see it as essential to the whole story. This is the peace that passes understanding. It is the culmination of the Buddha's path. Let's imagine this as a final, unifying metaphor. See your life as a long day's walk across diverse terrain. Your youth was the brisk, eager morning climb, full of effort and dazzling views. Your middle years were the steady, productive trek across the high plains under the strong noon sun. Now, you have entered the evening walk. The sun is low, casting long, golden shadows that deepen the colors of everything. The air is cooling. Your pace has slowed, not from weakness, but because you are seeing more. You notice the intricate patterns of lichen on the rocks, the way the evening light turns ordinary grass into filaments of gold. The destination is no longer a peak to conquer, it is the integration of the entire journey. You are walking now to fully inhabit the walk itself. And as the first stars begin to appear, you feel not fear of the dark, but a sense of completion, and a quiet wonder at the vast, beautiful sky that has been above you all along. This is growing old with grace. It is the art of the golden hour. And like any art, it is cultivated through daily, loving practice. So, as we close, let this not be an end, but a beginning of your own conscious practice. Start small. Start today. With your next cup of tea, be my grandmother. Warm the pot. Watch the steam. Be present for the tea's becoming, and yours. With a moment of discomfort, be the old cat. Find the single sunbeam of a pleasant sensation, the softness of the fabric, the coolness of the glass. And bask in it fully. With a forgotten name, be my Aunt Clara. Let go of the fact and enjoy the feeling, the essence of the person you're trying to name. When you feel alone, be Eleanor. Choose one thing outside your window, a tree, a bird, a patch of sky, and enter into a silent, attentive relationship with it. When you speak, be Mr. Higgins. Let your words be few, kind, and true, improving upon the silence. When you move, have a conversation with your body. Thank it. Listen to it. Move with compassionate curiosity. Each evening, be my friend the veteran. Write down one sentence about a wonder you noticed. Keep your own ledger. And when thoughts of time or loss arise, be the mountain. Feel your own deep, still presence beneath the weather of your thoughts. You are not the weather. You are the mountain. This is the teaching of the Buddha, offered not as a doctrine, but as a lived experience. It is the path of awakening to your life exactly as it is, in every season. It is the courage to grow old not as a decline, but as a culmination, a slow, beautiful ripening into wisdom, love, and peace. You have this capacity within you. It has been growing alongside you all your life, waiting for your attention. Trust it. Nurture it. Let it guide you home to yourself. Thank you for walking this long, gentle path with me here at Monk's Temple. May you walk the rest of your days with a heart open wide, with eyes soft with understanding, and with a spirit at peace. May you grow old with grace. Go in peace.